Closely related to this idea of liability forness is the idea of political risk, which is just an extension of the fact that liability forness is you're going to make mistakes you're not aware of. Political risk says that the playing field really isn't level for you. And to illustrate this, we're going to start with a very positive story about how well Tesla has done in China. And then I'm going to show you kind of the flip side of how that works. And I'll try to do a better job of getting the sound from the video into the recording. Hang on.
China, where of course we've seen other companies, other automakers have a much harder time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key question at the heart of this story, right? And it's a fascinating tale, really, of having, I think, very clear, unwavering priorities on the Tesla side and pretty perfect timing, actually. For years, Tesla had made car makers who wanted to get into the country and have access to this obviously very vast market. They had to go into joint ventures with local companies, often state-owned ones like SAIC in Shanghai, for example, that has tie-ups with a few of them, including Volkswagen. Now, that wasn't going to work for Elon Musk, and he made that very clear from the get-go. There were lots of concerns about Tesla's unique intellectual property and sort of diluting the brand there. You know, it is different to other automakers, to other companies, really, Tesla, in that it has this very publicly headstrong and attention-grabbing leader in Musk. And that helped in negotiations with the Chinese because Tesla had a very clear line and didn't waver from it. At the same time, though, they had something that China wanted in that Tesla represented the pinnacle of an emerging industry that they wanted to be at the forefront of: electric vehicles, new energy vehicles, and that evolution away from the combustion motor. That made China more willing to negotiate with Tesla and to give them their terms because the theory was that their entry would lift that entire industry and give local EV players something to benchmark themselves to.
Well, you know, it was also in the interest of the Chinese government, but you have a great quote in your story saying that Tesla has to be aware that the ultimate plan is for all the advanced technologies to be Chinese, and that Elon Musk should have his eyes open. So what have the interests of the Chinese government changed?
Well, I think at the time, as well as this whole idea of Tesla's on-trade benefiting an industry that they were wanting to own, and I do think that they can gain that access to the technology and the ideas that Tesla has. There was also this timing part that I referred to, which was pretty key to Musk's success in getting what he wanted in China. So Tesla, was seeking to set up this wholly owned presence in China right around the time that the trade war was heating up. And Beijing saw it as an opportunity to show the US that this was, that this place was open for business, particularly to sort of innovative and eye-catching American companies. So it very much served a political purpose in China's fight with Trump. And as we note in the story, that translated into quite incredible support from the Chinese government apparatus, stuff that you wouldn't see anywhere else in the world, really. Loans from state banks, very advantageous deals on the land where the Shanghai factory is located, help with getting that plant up and running in record time, less than a year. It's quite astounding. And also in the story, even came down to supporting them when the pandemic was at its worst here in China. Access to disinfectant that required a regulator's license, supplies of masks at a time when there were still questions whether doctors here in China were able to get enough of those. All that meant they were back up and running before other foreign car makers here.
Hey, everybody.
And so that makes Tesla sound like it's just done everything perfectly in China. And that really is the answer to this blue or yellow box at the bottom. Is it always a liability to be a foreign product? If you have a lot of cachet, then the answer is no. Tesla got legs in China because it was not a Chinese company, because it was Tesla. Likewise, Apple did the same with their iPhones in the early stages. But the Chinese government giveth, and the Chinese government taketh away. Let's look at this article. Let me resize this just a little bit. Tesla summoned by Chinese regulators on quality issues. This is a very current story, just a couple of days old. And so um, the thing that is interesting about this is this paragraph right here. This is the managing director of Tesla in China, who says, sincerely accepted the guidance of the governmental departments, it deeply reflected on shortcomings and was working on strengthening its operations. If you're familiar with the Asian world, you know that that is very typical of the culture of the Eastern culture, to deeply reflect. And so, whereas Musk has loved to respond very aggressively to criticisms of the U.S. government in a lot of cases, you can see in China they knew that's just not going to work, because they understand that the rule of law is different, and they can break their laws to do what they want, or simply saying bad things about the government is itself a violation of the rule of law. And so then, if that's not enough, you also have economic risks of going overseas. You saw that it talked numerous times about, in the video with Tesla, about protecting the intellectual property, which is why Tesla chose to do a greenfield venture or a wholly owned subsidiary. In Globus, you're seeing the problems of the currency fluctuations, the exchange rate, and we've seen just how quickly the playing field can be reset with tariffs, as the former Trump administration liked to lobby those in and out. Here's a very important question. Does a strong US dollar help or hurt US manufacturers when they're exporting their goods? So talking about a strong dollar seems to be a very positive thing. But when it comes to exporting your goods, you actually like a weak dollar if you're a US manufacturer, because that makes your products cheaper overseas. And so I hope these videos have given you a sense of a complexity of the global strategy. And that's what that's multi-tiered chess game is designed to convey, is that the potential benefits are great. You can say today that Tesla's financial performance is you can attribute it to a successful launch in China, but it isn't easy, and things can quickly go south in a global sort of strategy. And so again, these are the big questions that companies have to wrestle with as they employ that global strategy. Thanks for watching the videos.